So the NBA has released their NBA regular season schedule, and I have thoughts. I have a lot of thoughts because they do it again every single year where they have an opportunity to make something exciting, make something refreshing. The NBA just drops the ball. Okay, so let me get it started. Let's just look at some of the things that I saw from the schedule release. Share my screen real quick. Those bookmarks. So first thing that I noticed, we all knew this was coming. We all knew that Prime and NBC/Peacock was going to come into the fold. We knew this. But look at the schedule. Come on now. Like what we do? So Sunday is ABC. It's either ABC, NBC, it's Peacock. Monday is strictly Peacock. Tuesday is NBC/Peacock. Wednesday is ESPN. Thursday is Prime. Friday is Prime, ESPN. Saturday is Prime, ABC. This looks like a disaster. Look at all of these streaming sites that we have to go to, and then I'm not even counting League Pass. So we have let's not even count ESPN because, majority of people already have ESPN because of cable, streaming, etc. So take ESPN out of the equation. You have Prime to worry about. You have NBC. If you're lucky, you have NBC with cable. Then you have Peacock. Then you have League Pass. If you're lucky, you have League Pass. And then potentially ESPN if you don't have cable. This is a lot. I will say. Man. Boy, oh boy. But that's not the worst of my troubles. That's not the worst thing that I've seen from all this. Another thing I saw, the key dates to watch, the tip-off, which, again, all the streaming platforms from NBC to Peacock, ESPN to Prime. The Emirates Cup, the same deal. A Christmas Day, which is, thank God, it's on ESPN and ABC, and we don't have to go all over different streaming platforms to watch Christmas Day games. It's on one network. Same with Martin Luther King Day. Rivalry Week is all over the place. All-Star Weekend, NBC and ESPN, okay. Play-in tournament is Prime. I'm cool with that. Playoffs, bruh. And then the finals is ABC. Okay, and then we have some more stuff, more information coming through. Emirates Cup. Here's some games. So we have the Hawks, Pacers, we have the Celtics, we have the 76ers, we have the Raptors, Cavaliers, Knicks, Bulls, Lakers, Grizzlies, Jazz, Suns. Matter of fact, let's look at the team. Let's look at the groups to get a better picture. So the groups, we have, let me share my screen real quick. So A is Minnesota. It's Thunder, Phoenix, Kings, Jazz. I ain't gonna lie to you, outside of the Timberwolves and the Thunder, that group is garbage. Then we have West B, which is Mavericks, Clippers, Lakers, Timberwolves, Pelicans. Okay, got three teams in there, and potentially a fourth if the Grizzlies or the Pelicans come out of nowhere and show some signs of relevancy. Then you have C, that's probably the most competitive, in my opinion, with the Nuggets, with the Warriors, with the Rockets, with the Spurs, and then Portland Trailblazers. They got a couple of good players on there as well. They just added Drew Holiday. So, okay, that's the best group by far, the most competitive group by far. Then you have the East with the Cavs, the Hawks, the Pacers, the Toronto Raptors, and the Washington Wizards. Yeah. The East B, Boston, Brooklyn, Detroit, Orlando, 76ers. Yeah. East C, Hornets, Bulls, Miami Heat, Milwaukee Bucks, New York Knicks. Okay. Okay. I guess. It's whatever. Let's move on. let's move on to some bookmarks real quick. This is what I want to talk about. This is what I really want to talk about. This makes no sense. The NBA, bro, like what the hell? What is this? There was a, hold on. I'm going to try to find the tweet. There was a criteria that they used to determine the different matchups. Let me try to find it real quick and then I'll show you guys. But this makes no sense. Hold on. Matter of fact, I'm about to share my screen in a minute. Give me 1 second. Let me exit that out. All right, here we go. Give me 1 second, guys. So as you guys can see this, so here's the criteria. Classic and budding rivalries between teams and players will be the focus of 11 national games over 5 days during NBA Rivals from January 20th to the 24th. So I know you're wondering why do I look upset? Why am I so upset with all these matchups? Well, let's break it down. Okay, so Rockets Spurs. I'm not mad about that. Division opponents, they're in the division. It's Texas. Makes sense. Regional sort of rivalry. Both teams are vying for a potential playoff spot. Okay, cool. I'm fine with that. Wembanyama, Spurs, they're getting better. Rockets just added KD. This is an intriguing game that people are going to want to see. And it's a divisional opponents. But then when we look at the other games on this list, make it make sense. Let's break it down. Lakers, Nuggets. This is not a rivalry. Lakers and Nuggets are not a rivalry. Just because they played in the playoffs twice does not make that a rivalry. What makes this matchup a rivalry? There's nothing about this that makes it a rivalry. Let's go to the next game on the list. Let's go to the Cavs and the Hornets. Can somebody tell me what about the Cavs and the Hornets make it a rivalry? Nothing. Oh, LaMelo and Lonzo on opposing team. Ain't nobody watching that game because of LaMelo and Lonzo. This makes no sense. This makes absolutely no sense. I don't understand how the Hornets and the Cavaliers are rivals. How? Are they in the same? Matter of fact, let me make sure. Let me make sure. Am I tripping? Are they in the same division? Hold on. Man, hold on. South East Division NBA. Am I tripping? They're not even in the same division. Why are they considered rivals? They're not even in the same division. What history do these two teams have? And why would you show the Hornets versus the Cavs? The Hornets are not going to be good this year. Why would you put an ESPN slot for the Hornets versus the Cavs? And we don't even know, can we rely on LaMelo Ball playing? I just want to know, because for the past few seasons, LaMelo Ball has been hurt for a lot of the season. So you're going to get the Hornets a national TV spot when nobody considers them a rival to the Cavs, and LaMelo might be hurt, especially in January. Make it make sense. I don't get it. OKC versus Milwaukee. No. Nobody considers these two teams rivals. Let's go back to the criteria. It says classic and budding rivalries between teams and players. Where's the rivalry between teams and players? Just because Giannis and Shea are two of the top 5 players in the NBA on opposing teams does not make them rivals. Matter of fact, they don't play the same position. So they're not going to be guarding each other for 95% of the game. How does this make sense? There was no major trade between the two teams. A star player didn't leave that team. Where's the rivalry? I don't understand it. It makes no sense. I like the matchup because I'm get to see Shea versus Giannis, but rivalry reek as the advertisement. It's not a rivalry. Let's go down the list even more. So then we have Thursday, we have Warriors and Mavericks. That's not a rivalry. Just because Klay Thompson is on the Mavericks does not mean that this is all of a sudden a rivalry. No. Lakers, Clippers. That's a rivalry. Both in division. Both have animosity and history between one another because of the Kawhi Leonard situation and other things. That's a rivalry. That makes sense. An in-state rivalry makes sense. In division. Rockets and Pistons. What is the rivalry? What is the rivalry? Like, what are we doing? Pacers and Thunder. This is not a rivalry. Just because they played in the finals doesn't make it a rivalry. And they're going to be without Tyrese Halliburton. So you just wasted another spot on, I don't even know if we consider that national television, but I guess national television for a Pacers team that's not going to have Tyrese Halliburton, and they just lost Miles Turner. That is just a wasted spot for OKC. Yeah, we're going to be able to see Shea, but wouldn't you want to see Shea versus a competitive team at least? And then you have Knicks versus 76ers. We don't even know which one Embiid's going to play. And Paul George, we don't even know if he's going to remain healthy. In the 76ers, we don't even know if they're going to be good this year. Although, yes, they're a division rival, we don't even know if the 76ers are going to be good this year. So, does it really even matter? And then we have Golden State versus Minnesota. They played last year in the playoffs, but they're not rivals. They have no history of a rivalry. I don't get this logic. And then the last one is Lakers Mavericks. I guess you can make that a rivalry because the whole Luka Doncic situation, I guess, and you have Anthony Davis. I'm not too mad about that, even though there's never been a history in terms of a rivalry between these two teams. Yeah, they played in the playoffs in the past, but it doesn't really make them a rivalry. But I understand to a certain degree with that game because of LeBron, Anthony Davis, Luka Doncic, Mavericks. But overall, if we're looking at an old school evaluation of what a rivalry is, it's not a rivalry. So a lot of these matches just make absolutely no sense. It feels like Triple H and WWE wrote the script for how they're going to schedule each one of these games, because that's how bad it is. If you watch WWE, you will understand that reference. But a lot of this makes absolutely no sense. The scheduling on this makes absolutely no sense. Matter of fact, I want to show you guys the video from my dog, Brian. We said this back in 2022 in terms of what's wrong with the NBA, but I want to share this with y'all because I just want to remind you guys, this has been a problem going on for many years now. We've been saying this for a while. I want to show you guys this video.
Let me get my ether right. The problem with the NBA is in regular season is divisions don't matter. There's no real rivalry in the NFL these days. NBA these days. Who cares about the Lakers and the Kings were a rivalry back in 2000, but if they play, no one cares.
Nope.
The Celtics and the Lakers play. Nobody really cares. Yeah. Everyone stands players and teams that they don't know the history. There's no real rivalry. So people are less inclined to watch these games. When the Ravens and Steelers play is going to be a war, so I got to tune in on this. It's a vision game. But there's nothing like that in the NBA. Even baseball has more interesting rivalries. Baseball. I want to know what's the real.
Okay, so yeah, hopefully you guys heard that. But just to sum it up, this stuff has been going on for a while now. The NBA's inability to market themselves, to promote themselves in the regular season. They just fail to bring intrigue to the regular season. They tried to do it with the NBA Cup, and now they're trying to bring in this rivalry week. But just seeing what we just seen from the list of games for the rivalry week, it just seems like they're clueless. They don't know exactly where to go. They're pulling something out of their hat. They're throwing something on the wall and hoping it sticks. This to me is just, where is the creativity? Where are the people in the room that just have creative minds? Where do you guys have any young people in the room that have an open mind to things? Or is it just people in a suit for 40, 50, 60 years old with no creativity whatsoever. I don't know, man. I don't know. But they got to figure something out because it's the same cycle every single year, bro. It's the same cycle every single year. But yeah, man, that is the NBA schedule. Oh, I also want to show you guys one more thing real quick before we get out of here. But I will say about the NBA, I think they finally learned their lesson on this, though. Here we go. They finally learned a lesson on this, though. So, as you can see, the Thunder are tied for the most nationally televised games. Because, you know, last year they did the Thunder dirty, even though they had the number 1 seed the previous season. So I'm glad the NBA realized that, you know what? We made a mistake with the Thunder last year. Because if you guys don't remember, there was a game early in the year where they had the Cavs versus the Thunder, and both teams were like, they had great records. I remember it may have been around November or December, and they were facing one another, and it was on League Pass. And everybody online was like, yo, why is this game not on ESPN? Why you got these bum teams on ESPN playing, but not the 2 best teams in the NBA, East and West, playing with the best records? So they had to change it to the Thunder versus the Cavs because they ain't have it on League. They had it on League Pass. They don't have it on national TV. So I'm glad the Thunder will have the opportunity to show the world yet again why they're considered the best team in the NBA and give Shea some love, give this team some love, give them more notoriety. This is a young team, but this is a talented team that just won the NBA championship. And if I'm the NBA, you gotta go all in on this team. They're gonna be healthy, they're young, they're exciting to watch. You gotta market this team as much as possible if you want to grow the game. If you want to get better ratings, so you don't have to rely solely on LeBron and Stephen Curry, but they still got the Warriors tied for the most and the Lakers tied for the most. You still got to get your LeBron, you still got to get your Curry. So I ain't mind that. And they got the Knicks at 34, which by all means, if you look at the Eastern Conference, I might do another video about that. But if you look at the Eastern Conference and the way it's going to look next season, the only teams that are going to be relevant, really, that the NBA is going to care about are the Knicks, the Cavs, and that's about it. Because the Orlando Magic is the Orlando Magic. As good as they are, in my opinion, I think they're going to be competitive this season with the addition of Desmond Bane and a healthier season from their 2 stars. It's the Orlando Magic at the end of the day, and they can't shoot besides Desmond Bane from the outside. So you have that to worry about. Then you got the Detroit Pistons as well, that, in my opinion, I felt like they should have got more games. I felt like the Pistons, the Orlando Magic should have got more games than the Boston Celtics. Let me try to find the national team. Let me try to find one more thing because I want to see like the full list of teams. Let me see. I'm trying to find it real quick. Hold on. NBA national TV games. Let's see. All right. I think I got it. Share this real quick. I think I got it. All right. So here we go. I don't know why this dude didn't put it in order. Anywho, so when we look at it, we got Boston with 25, as we already know. We got Atlanta with 13. The Clippers at 21, which is fine by me because, again, the Clippers, bro, they got a bunch of old dudes all over the place, a bunch of unks playing on that squad right now. So who knows if any of them are going to be available by the end of the season. Then you got, let's see, what's some other teams? I love that Minnesota got 28. I love that Anthony Edwards is an amazing basketball player. I'm glad that the NBA is trying more to promote the young stars in the NBA that's going to play the game. It's very important that they do that. Orlando with only 14, I disagree. Like, why is Orlando only getting 14 nationally televised games when they're projected to be really good this year? Why is Philadelphia getting 14? They barely play. Their star players barely play. Makes no sense. Spurs should have got a little bit more. I think 22 is a disservice a little bit. I think they should have gotten about the same as the Nuggets. That's just how I feel because Wembanyama is a future superstar and he's an alien. Why wouldn't you want to promote Wembanyama and the Spurs more? If you want to grow the game, if you want to continue to boost ratings, don't you want to promote more of your young star players, Wembanyama is right there. I don't understand it. Why is Sacramento getting 9 games? Why is Portland getting 8 games? Make it make sense. Nobody wants to watch Portland play basketball. Who else? Miami only getting 5, thank God, because Miami is boring. Indiana getting 9. Let's be real. Like, who wants to watch Indiana without Tyrese Halliburton? Nobody. Detroit should be higher. They should at least have 20 games. Detroit, Cade Cunningham, they made the playoffs. They gave the Knicks a good run. I think they pushed it to 6th and nearly 7th game. Charlotte has 3 games. Okay. Chicago. Okay. Brooklyn. So yeah, man, my only complaints with this is I would say San Antonio deserves more. Orlando deserves more. Philly deserves less. What else? Detroit deserves more. Cleveland deserves more. And Boston deserves less. You get the Boston Celtics 25 games is like, bro. It's going to be no Tatum. They just traded away Drew Holiday, and they got rid of Porzingis. And Al Horford isn't on the team anymore. What are we doing? They're not going to be good. At best, they'll be like a 7th or 8th seed. What are we doing? And there's reports that they may start Peyton Pritchard. NBA's doing it again. But anywho, that's my thoughts on the NBA schedule. Leave your comments how you guys feel about the NBA schedule. What you guys are excited for in the upcoming NBA. What matchups you are excited for. And who do you think, what team do you think deserved more games? What teams do you think deserve less nationally televised games? Leave it in the comment section. And also, Rivalry Week. What teams do you think should have been a part of Rivalry Week? And what would you have changed in terms of what teams play during Rivalry Week? Leave the comments. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys later.